In Beyond No Reason, there are spots indicated on the map when you're picking your spawn location. These points have suggested rules written on them. If you're new to Beyond No Reason, or just new to multiplayer, you may be wondering what these mean and how to play them. In this guide, I'll give a quick rundown of each of these positions, what they mean, what you're expected to do at a bare minimum, and how you can be extra if possible. Front. Front is exactly what it says on the tin. You are the front line. The first player to clash with the enemy, you'll be focused on making units and less on building your eco. What are your main objectives in this role? 1. First and foremost, the minimum expectation is to get out units as quickly as possible, establish a front line and hold. If you are new, forget about pushing. As long as you don't go backwards, you're doing a great job. I recommend for new players setting your bot lab to repeat and building one rocket bot and one plasma bot. This will give you some long range units and some brawling units. 2. Make your front line wide enough to prevent any leaks. What are leaks? Leaks are when the enemy manages to slip past your defensive line and cause havoc in the backlines. Having a good front player means that the backlines can focus on spending their resources on fulfilling their roles and not having to waste any on building turrets and defences. Some players won't build defences because they expect you to cover off the leaks. If enemy enemies make it past, they will destroy your backline's eco and seriously set back their game and indirectly your team's chance of winning. 3. Reclaim any metal within reach. For every piece of metal you reclaim, that's 2 pieces in your team's favour. 1 extra for you and 1 less for the enemy. The easiest way to do this is to have your commander or a reclaim bot dip in and out of grabbing metal when a gap appears. Just make sure not to go too deep, as a dead commander is 1,000 fire metal you don't want the enemy to get. How to be extra. If you have a solid front line, or getting the lion's share of metal reclaim and you feel strong, you could push into the enemy's front and gain ground. Usually the front lines clash over a metal deposit that whoever can push to and control will have a distinct advantage in metal produced. Air. Air is a complex rule, as you are often relied on to make up for mistakes by your teammates. Whether that's sniping leaks with shurikens, assisting C players with torpedo bombers. You can also be expected to pull off a Hail Mary if your team is losing badly and sneak in a bomb and run, but at its core, air has one main objective. Get as many fighters as you can and stop the enemy air from doing anything. Use your fighters to take out enemy fighters, shurikens, bombers and transports. As long as you don't let any bombing runs take out your team, let torpedo planes cause havoc with your C player, let transports drop enemy units in advantageous spots and prevent their scout planes from scouting your side of the map, you're pretty much golden. How to be extra. You can start to diversify your production to your team's needs. If your C player is struggling, you can build torpedo bombers and help them out. If your front line is falling, you can build shurikens or gunships to provide another obstacle for the enemy. Once you are confident you are ahead in terms of fighters and eco than that of the opposing team's air player, you can build bombers. Lead with your fighters, wipe out the enemy air and smash the backline with bombers. It's a high risk, high reward strategy and should only be done with extreme confidence or extreme desperation. C. C is just that. You spawn either in or close to water and your main job is to dominate that portion of the water. How do you do that though? 1. Get into the water ASAP. If you spawn on land, maybe after building a small amount of eco in a lab, and then build ships. Your main job is similar to frontline except in the water. Establish a front line in the sea and endeavour not to be pushed back. As if you are pushed completely out of the sea, it's much harder to get back into it and it gives the enemy a massive advantage. 2. Control as much of the sea as your units allow. This prevents the enemy from using their ships that generally have longer range than land units against your team's land units. It can be super hard for front players to push or even hold their line if they are being attacked from multiple sides. 3. Claim any metal from naval fights with reclaimed subs. Control as many of the metal spots as you can and build radars and sonars to give your team vision and early warnings on air or amphibious attacks. The last thing you want in a game to go wrong at the last minute because there was a blind spot in the sea and now 20 marauders are on your side of the map. How to be extra. If you have ships to spare, you can use them to patrol the coast and harass the enemy, prevent them from pushing and creating reclaim for your team to collect. If you manage to take over the sea entirely, you can effectively strike with long range units into the enemy's bases or make huge holes in the enemy's vision for your teammates or yourself to exploit by using amphibious units or hovercraft to attack from weakly defended positions or multiple positions to overwhelm the enemy. The decision is yours. Tech. The tech player is the late game player, expected to build their big units and make a big impact, but at bare minimum, this is what you're expected to do. 1. Build a Tech 2 lab as soon as possible and build each of your teammates a T2 constructor. Without this, your team will not be able to easily build advanced metal extractors and will start falling behind in economy fast. 8 enemy players with advanced metal extractors versus 8 without will quickly outproduce and outscale the latter. 2. You are usually expected to provide your frontline players with some form of T2 units, usually something long range like a Fat Boy or a Hound, Arbiter or Sheldon, relatively early on to allow the front lines to effectively defend and push. If the enemy has these units, they can pick off yours at range or smash through with strong heavy units such as the Tsar or Mammoth. 3. Although you're expected to help with building some units, you should be doing all you can to scale your economy faster than the enemy tech player. This gives you the resources you need to put together a serious play. Games that last past 30 minutes or so, generally, in my opinion, are won by the team with the most eco tech player, as they can pump out endgame units. Some plays a tech can do involve sneak attacks with amphibious T3s, producing heavy T3 units and pushing the front line, or even transitioning to air, pulling off huge bombing runs. How to be extra. Practice build orders on how to reach and produce T2 constructors for your team as fast as possible, even self-detonating your commander to gain access to the Rex 1500 metal. Ask your air player for a transport plane and drop T2 units in strategic places such as on top of impassable terrain. Give your frontline radar jammer bots to help them disguise what they are doing. Learn how to infinitely scale so that you don't plateau and can produce more and more and bigger and better units. There are some map-specific spots, such as Pond on Supremismus, and spots can sometimes be combined, such as Tech Front, where you are to help the front but also save some build power to scale your eco faster than the other front players. These spots are niche, and I recommend watching what other players do or just picking one of the 2 suggestions and playing as that, so either a full front player or a full eco player. Generally, front is considered the best position for new players, as your job is to provide a line in the sand and hold it. Anything above this is extra, and usually a front player won't have an endgame impact if not done in the early stages of the game. Air is considered a key rule, as without air superiority, you are super susceptible to bombing runs which can be game ending. Sea can be a major role, as holding the sea can allow for control of metal spots, harassment and bombardment, as well as endgaming attacks from hard to defend places. Tech, in my opinion, is the most key role. Although any one position playing badly can spell disaster for the team, if a tech does a subpar job, it's the fastest way to lose. Without the T2 constructors for the team, or the heavy firepower, it's virtually impossible to win outside of an elite play by one of the other positions, or one of the other positions essentially becoming the endgame heavy firepower by switching their playstyle to more of a tech playstyle. I'm still relatively new to the game with around 280 matches, but this is my personal take so far. Please give me a like and a sub if you can. This keeps me motivated to do videos, as I do this for fun hobby, and I'm having a good time. So thanks for watching, peace.